Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial series, Architecture Interior Design Modeling with Shapr3D. In this video today I will show you how we can model a door with all the individual elements and then import a CAD data, for example for the door handle. Before we get started, as always, let's make sure that our unit system here are in inches and decimal and our snapping tools are all turned on. The whole design is sorted and pre-named, so it actually makes sense to see where everything is for our references. Great. Let's get started in showing you how we can fill this void and put a door in. When we take a look at a door, we have various elements. We have the frame that's being connected to the walls. We have the door leaf itself that's being hung inside the frame, the hinges. We have a door handle, and we also have the trim that goes around it. The trim, for example, is a cover between the door frame and the connection to the wall. The question now is, what is the best way or the proper order when to model what? And actually doing the frame first is one of the easiest ones. So let's do this. We go to this view, with pencil select this face, with the finger double tap, turn on the cut section view, then we can zoom in and somewhere we just draw a line down and connect it to the edge. That's the important one. And here we do the same. Let's rotate our view, turn cut section off, and here we can actually now type in that this should be 1/2 of an inch. Or we can go via decimals. Very nice. So this is actually the cross section of my frame. With the sketch selected, go to sweep, select this edge, and this edge. So this opening inside the wall is actually the true opening you need when you also put in the door frame. There, when you look up measurements, for those who are not familiar with it, you can find the dimension for a door and you can find the dimension for the whole system to fit in. Very good. The sketch is so tiny, I rather delete it. And then this, I will call frame. When we zoom in, everything looks first good actually, but it's not. We can see that the floor intersects with the frame. The frame actually wants to float on top of the wood floor so that the wood floor during the change of the season and moisture level in the air can expand and shrink. We don't really model this by hand. We simply select those two objects, go to subtract. Everything is here set correctly, so remove bodies from. The frame is the plus, the floor is the minus. Remove bodies, all good, and click done. There, nicely trimmed. Super easy. Let's make a folder and we call this one door. And then drag this one in there. Now it's time that we actually do our trim. Here is our trim object. I can extrude this out a little bit and bring it over. To there, to there. Let's zoom in a little bit. You see the architecture sometimes can be in my way, so we will hide this in a moment. Let's rotate this 90 degrees. And rotate it this way 90 degrees. Very good. Nice. Like this. And actually I might need to see my floor, but I would like to hide the walls. So you just hide the walls. Very good. this object, we will select, go to translate, and from the lower corner to there, we do a snap. Very good. Now the trim is perfectly lined up with the frame. That is not necessarily correct. For decorative reason, we can actually add a little bit of an offset. 1/8 is, for example, what I have. So we select this, go over, and then we can say that this should be 1/8. Very nice. So you see this way you can switch quickly between decimal or fractional based on your preference. Very good. Now, here again we can select this profile, and then we will select sweep and simply select all those inner edges. And it sweeps it with that offset. Very nice. Our small template piece, we want to select there and delete it. We don't need it anymore. And you see there's another problem going on. Our baseboard is actually intersecting. That's not good. That's not really difficult. And we'll show you how we adjust this. Here we push this back. Also here we push this back. This we can now call trim. Move this also into the door folder. Very good. And then we can select this and translate to here. Then we select both, translate, and I rotate kind of like to a view here so I can see both faces. And this is so elegantly solved in Shapr how we can move faces. Very good. This looks a little bit bad, so we will chamfer this, or we could also yeah, we could. That's a little bit more difficult to fill it there. So let's chamfer this. The craftsman then only has to go in and make a nice miter cut. And we can adjust this till this perfectly lines up. Maybe a tiny bit more. Okay, very good. Yeah, there we are. Very nice. So how do we do the door? The element that goes in it. It's actually very easy to do it from this side. I will select this face with my finger double tap. And then simply draw a line. I'll make sure that this line ends actually on an inner edge. Why do I do this? Here, let's hide this. You see that? It projected the lines in. How cool is that? These lines I can delete. No architecture here at baseboard. This is all I hide. Go over. So this way I am drawing on it, but I'm not in any case connecting it to or projecting something else in it. And there's my sketch for the door. I select it. And this goes in 1 inch and 3/4. Or we can also make a 2 inch. Doors can have various thicknesses. Very good. Then let's show the rest again. The door is lined up actually on the right side. I would like this one to be on the left side because it opens into the room. Select the door, go to translate, and we go corner to corner. There we are. Very good. We can call this door. There we are. Now, is this correct? Well, in terms of technical modeling, it perfectly fits in. So we could slide the door in and out, but we can't really rotate the door in and out because it is way too tight. So we have to add a tiny gap around the door and the frame. So we can move this one into this folder. Also here, this we could call door. And then I put this onto the sketches. The sketch I really don't need to see, so I also hide it. The trim I hide, the frame I hide, so I only see this. We are in decimal. Very good. So we can select this, this, and this face, and then move this in, for example, a little bit. And you see this way it does an offset of all these three faces at the same time. If I would like to have a very particular way to move individual faces, I simply can select a face, go to move, and then I move this one down, maybe by a 1/4 inch. Go to here. So when this is, for example, moved by a 1/4 inch, then this would be 30.75. And then I go to the other side, and this is now 30.5. Okay, so I showed like various ways how we can do this. The nice thing about Shapr, I made this gap actually a little bit big, so you can easily see it. The nice thing about Shapr is we can always go back and fix these problems. So maybe I just 1/10 of an inch is what I want. Initially this was 31 inches, so we go 30.7, and then here I will make this 30.8, so we have 0.1 inch offset for each. Here also we moved this a 1/4 inch down, so this was then actually 81.5, and actually this would be then 81.4. Very good. Let's compare. Yeah, now you see this looks a little bit better. Now what do we do with the bottom actually of the door? So based on what I have in terms of a floor and how thick it also is, and do I want to have more air movement or not, that also means more sound movement, I can simply move this one up. And sorry for the camera movement. Try to navigate to here, select this, then I go to translate this down to this face. So now this is actually flush with the ground. Very good. And I can decide maybe move this one up by 1/2 inch. Okay. And again, we can always adjust those afterwards very easily in Shapr. Very good. So the door obviously is also connected to hinges. For the purpose of this exercise we do here, we will simulate the hinges simply via cylinders. We will somewhere just make a circle. This will have a diameter of 3/8. So 3/8 of an inch. There we are. Very nice. And a height of 7 inches. Oh, actually, here I go with decimal. I find this for me faster. There we are. Very good. Oh, sorry, actually not 7 inches. It should be 3.5 inches. And then 7 inches is the distance, so 3.5. Very good. So how do we position this? I will hide the trim for the moment, so it is out of my way. Then I select this, go to translate, and here from this midpoint, make me a translation to, let's zoom in, this upper corner there. Sounds good. Okay, there we are. So you see I moved actually the midpoint right to there. And everything what we do right now is putting in a representation of a hinge. It helps the client to understand how the door might work without actually be having to model everything. So this is not necessarily 100% correct, but in terms of storytelling, helping the client understand, this is sufficient. So I moved this a little bit further out so it does not touch the trim. Very good. And I will move this one now down 7 inches. Very good. There's number 1. I will make a copy, bring this one down to there. I'm still making a copy there. Very good. So deselect, this one we delete. And this one goes up 7 inches. So you see now when we look at this door, oh, there are hinges. Something is happening. So this is better than nothing. Obviously you can, if you want and you have the time, go ahead and model the hinge. Now these are custom pieces which are designed or pre-made. There's no point in my view, as long as you don't want to render it out in an image, to model it, because it's work that it's not necessary. So a simulation like this is perfectly fine. Now how do we find the midpoint? So when I select this and this, we see the distance is 60.35. So 30.15, we might have to move this one down. So select this one, make a copy, then I move this down to there, and move it down 30.15. Let's see, does this look good? Now we can always then check. So this edge to this edge. Okay, this is a distance of 26, and this to here 30. So I'm off 2 inches. Let's move this up. Just 2. 28. Select the lower edges. 28. So yeah, this is visually very well centered. Very good. Okay. We can move actually all those into a group on its own. So when we have to hide them, in here we just have one folder. Makes it a lot easier. So we want to rotate the door. By the way, this is actually kind of cool having these hinges there. I can select the door, then I move the widget to the center of the cylinder and just rotate it around it. There you see. Very good. Obviously also the position of the cylinder left and right and the distance really informs the movement or the rotation actually of that door. Very good. Okay, so the last piece would be how can we import an external geometry. So a door handle. We will go to Import, Files, and I have here a handle 0.05-1 snapshot. This is something I downloaded from GrabCAD. So you see, the zip file we can't really import, and I thought this might be interesting for you to see how this works. So I go to the folder. There it is. And on iOS, when I click a zip file, it instantly unpacks it for me. Perfect. So there's my step file. Very good. So let's go back to Shapr. See, and there's the folder. And there's my zip file. Sorry, my step file. Translate it in. Now we need to see where it went to. There it is. Zoom. There we are. Very nice. Okay. So let's rotate it 90 degrees. Let's rotate it 90 degrees this way. Actually 180. Very good. And to position this, I will go to Translate from the center to the store. There we are. Very good. And then we can move this somewhat to where this door handle actually would be placed based on the geographical standard. Then you can one easy way, for example, would be you select the door, double tap. I will go and hide everything else here for the moment. Very good. Also the baseboard. So there's now my door. And when I do a new sketch on it, I can project in the left and the bottom edge and give each one a dimension. So I could specify this center point. And that's actually what I was looking for. Because what I can do now is I hide my door. I select my handle, translate from the center to that sketch point. There, you see? So that would be a very easy way how to specify actually the position of the handle right on the door. So let me undo the steps so I don't have the sketch anymore. Very good. There are my hinges. Show the trim. Here's this. The last thing we have to do is how do we bring actually this over to the other side? We select it. Then we go to mirror. So we can select actually a face. Very good. But now you see it moved it over to there. So because we don't have a plane, we have volume. We will do this actually in a different way. So we will select our handle, mirror, and then we do it along its own plane. Very good. And we know that our door has a thickness of 2 inches. So that makes it very easy. We select this, move it by 2 inches. There we are. And then we can go ahead, turn everything else back on. That's all good. And then we could give everything a color as needed. Yeah, and there you see now that this door actually looks very, very believable. Also here, when we want to rotate something, I will move this one to there. Let's say you meet with a client and the door system has multiple objects, and we don't really want to have to select many objects. There's also where I put the hinges, for example, in there. So we have our handle and we have the door. I could, for organizational purpose, simply select those and put them in this folder. Because when I select this folder, you see it selects all the objects which are in there. That makes it very easy now, because now I can snap this to there and say, you rotate 90 degrees. Do you bash into the wall? No, you do not. Very good. Okay, I could show somebody. Well, this is the way how the door would open and the door would close. So in terms of digital prototyping, this is actually very useful. And this sums up how to build a door in Shapr3D for an interior space.